You. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhuma Kunya Bihari Jaya Madhuma Kunya Bihari Gopinana Madhava Idivadura Ude Gopi Janavanapa Girivardha Ude Yasuda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Manachare Yamuna Tera Manachare Jai Huradu Madhura Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Nanamanapa Girivarudane Gopi Janavalapa Girivarudane Yasudanandana Prajajanaranjana Yasudanandana Prajajanaranjana Jamunatera Vanachate Yamunatera Vanachate Jayarantu Madhava Kunjabikhagotre Jayaradho Madhava Kunjabikhagotre Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parvadikacharya also Teta Sitashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Adadagoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturidam Ki Jai Jagalatha Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nivashesha Srinivadi Pashatate Shatarni. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 47th chapter, text 59. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Akrema Striyo Avana Charir Vyavichara Dushta Krishna Kva Chaisha Paramatmane Ruda Bhava Nanu Vishvaro Anubhajato Vidusho Api Sakshat Shreyas Tanoti Agada Raja Ivopayuktaha. Okay. Kremastriyo Vanacharir Vyabhichara Tushta. Krishna Vachaisha Paramatmani Ruda Bhava. Nan Vishvaro Nubhajato Vidushopi Sakshach. Shreyas Tanot Jagada Raja Ivopayukta. Vemastriyo vanacharir vyabichara dushta. Krishna kvachaisha paramatmani ruda bhava. Nan vishvaro nubhajato vidusho bisakshat. Shreyastanot jagadaraja hivopayukta. Vemastriyo vanacharir vyabhachara dushta. Krishna kvachaisha paramatmani ruda bhava. Nan vishvaro nubhajato vidusho bisakshat. Shreyastanot jagadaraja vivo ayukta. Okay. Kva, where in comparison? Ima, these. Striya, women. Vana, in the forest. Chare, who wander. Vyavichara, by improper behavior. Dushta, contaminated. Krishna, for Krishna. Kvacha, and where? Esha, this. Parama Atmane, for the Supreme Soul. Arudabhava, stage of perfect love, known technically as Mahabhava. Nanu, certainly, Ishvara, the personality of Godhead. Anubhajata, to one who constantly worships him. Avatusha, not learned. Api, even though. Sakshad, directly. Shreya, the highest good. Tanoti, bestows. Agada, of medicines. Raja, the king, namely the nectar which the demigods drink for long life. So there would be the two words together, would be Agada Raja. You understand? So you have to combine them both to understand what's being said here. Of medicines, the king of all medicines. You got it? Eva, as if. Upayukta, taken. Translation. How amazing it is that these simple women who wander about in the forest, seemingly spoiled by improper behavior, have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Krishna, the Supreme Soul. Still, it is true that the Supreme Lord himself awards his blessings even to an ignorant worshipper, just as the best medicine works even when taken by a person ignorant of its ingredients. So you can repeat, how amazing it is that these simple women who wander about the forest, seemingly spoiled by improper behavior, have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Krishna, the Supreme Soul. Still, it is true that the Supreme Lord himself awards his blessings even to an ignorant worshiper, just as the best medicine works even when taken by a person ignorant of its ingredients. So, as purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The use of the word kva in the first two lines indicates a sharp contrast between apparently incompatible items. In this case, the apparently insignificant and even impure position of the gopis, mentioned in the first line, and their attainment of the highest perfection of life mentioned in the second. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti describes three types of adulterous women. The first is a woman who enjoys both her husband and a lover, being faithful to neither. Both ordinary society and the scriptures condemn this conduct. The second type of adulterous woman is she who abandons her husband to enjoy only with her lover. Society and the scriptures also condemn this behavior, although such a fallen woman may be said to at least have the good quality of dedicating herself to a single man. The last kind of adulterous woman is she who abandons her husband and enjoys in the attitude of being a lover of the Supreme Lord alone. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that although foolish common people criticize this position, such behavior is commended by those who are wise in spiritual science. Therefore, learned members of society and the revealed scriptures praise such single-minded devotion to the Lord. Such was the gopis' behavior. Thus, the term vyabhachara dushta, corrupted by deviation, indicates the apparent resemblance between the gopis' behavior and that of ordinary adulterous women. So again, the verse. Vemastriyo vanacharir vyabhachara tushta krishnes kva chaisa paramatmani radhavava. Ruda Bhava, Nanvishvaro Nubhajato, Vidusho Bisakshach, Shreyastano Jagadaraja, Ivo Payukta. So, Om Ganata Vrandasha, Gananjana Shalakya, Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai, Shri Gurave Namaha. So first we'll read a little bit of the commentaries of the Acharyas, which are quite lengthy, and if we just read those, we'd be not doing anything else for the whole class. So I'm going to read a little bit from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Therefore, bhakti is the cause of producing excellence among people, not austerity or knowledge. And we're going to address that in a second. Although bhakti is the most excellent, it is not deemed so by the common people. Rather, they condemn it. In that position, it makes itself the most excellent, worshipable, the highest goal. Uddhava speaks about this with astonishment and hair standing on end in 2 verses. Where are these women, being in a low position, being born as women, who are criticized for their conduct as being sinful because they wander about in the forest, vanachari? Where is their Mahabhav for Krishna, the source of all expansions, superior Paramat to his other forms, such as Lord, the Lord of Vaikuntha? The use of the word where twice indicates the impossibility of it existing. It seems most astonishing that they could have such elevation, but on thinking a moment, it is not so astonishing. Certainly, Nanu, a mind, O mind, the Lord gives to such persons as this, not just to perfected persons, but even to persons without philosophical knowledge of Atma and Brahman, of Adhu Shah, the most auspicious thing, a taste of his love, along with liberation from material misery, which is not given even to all the liberated persons, such as nectar, agada, raja, when drunk, gives a special sweet taste, along with giving relief from all disease, even to the ignorant persons. Why then should the Lord not give Mahabhav, rare even to all devotees such as Narada, to these gopis who are perfect in bhakti, eternally perfect, the highest of all, the most knowledgeable of Krishna's form, qualities, glories, and sweetness, who engage their own intelligence, senses, limbs, youth, and ornaments in his service. In Ujjvala Nilamani, the characteristics of Ruda Bhav or Mahabhav are described, and I'm going to read about that in a second. So I think that's all for the commentary. So let's speak a little bit about Mahabhav. What does it mean, this Mahabhav? And actually, technically speaking, a synonym for Mahabhav is Rudha Bhav. And that, technically speaking, the gopis have something called Adirudha Bhav, which is actually even more intense. And we're going to read about this in a second from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because you want to understand what this Mahabhav is first. So in text 162, Adi 4, we have the verse, Gopi Ganera Premera Rudabhava Nama Vishuddha Nirmala Prema Kabuna He Kama. The love of the gopis is called Rudabhava. It is pure and spotless. It is not at any time lust. So this is an important distinction. That their wanting to be with Krishna is not not the same at all in terms of quality as a unchaste lady wanted to be with her lover and enjoy with her lover. They want to give Krishna enjoyment. This is a very important distinction. So, and also in the Madhya Lila 23rd chapter, text 57, we find another description of Ruda and Adiruda Bhav. Ruda, Adiruda, Bhava Kevala, Madhure. Amahishi Ganera Ruda, Adiruda, Gopika Nikare. Only in the conjugal mellow are there 2 ecstatic symptoms called Rudha, advanced, and Adi Rudha, highly advanced. The advanced ecstasies are found among the queens of Dwarka, and the highly advanced ecstasies are found among the gopis. And finally, we're going to read from the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Jaiva Dharma, which describes Mahabhav. So we have the personality Vijaya asking the question of his spiritual master, are there variations within Mahabhav? And Goswami replies, Mahabhav is the crystallized form of the most sublime nectar that transforms all bhavas coming in touch with it, infusing them with the innate nature of itself, Mahabhav. Let me just read that again. This is really interesting. Mahabhav is the crystallized form of the most sublime nectar that transforms all bhavas coming in touch with it, infusing them with the innate nature of itself, Mahabhav. Mahabhav appears in two variations, Rudha and Adi Rudha. Vijaya asks, what is Rudha Mahabhav? And Goswami answers, in Rudha Mahabhav, all the sattvika bhavas, that means the eightfold ecstasies that are basically constitutional part of a pure devotee, or someone at least on the stage of bhava, the sattvika bhavas shine at the level of udipta. That means they're ablaze. That's the highest level. Each bhava is expressed through anubhavas, that means voluntary expressions of your emotions. And Vijaya asks, what are the anubhavas in Rudha Mahabhava? And here we're going to describe some of the symptoms of the gopis who are dedicated to Krishna. So Goswami replies, the anubhavas of Rudha Mahabhav are as follows. Impatience flares up even by the loss of a moment's association. That's yugayatam nimishena chakshusha varshayatam, with the beloved. Emotions are churned up in the hearts of those present just as witnesses. Perception that a kalpa is but a moment. That's yugayatam nimishena. Anxiety that Krishna may suffer. That's desire for Krishna's pleasure. Although there is no apparent reason to think so. So this is a symptom the gopis are feeling. This is love. Not the desire to enjoy Krishna, but to be enjoyed by Krishna, and for Krishna to be happy. And they're in anxiety that Krishna is not happy or Krishna is suffering for some reason or other. The self and the world fade into oblivion. That's such an interesting poetic expression, isn't it? The self and the world fade into oblivion. Oblivion means zero, nothing, just like finished. And moments are drawn out to seem like ages. Some of these anubhavas are experienced in sambhog, means meeting, and others in vipralamba. So it's very exalted there. So, changing the subject a little bit, I wanted to talk about how knowledge and renunciation are described as not being necessary to achieve Krishna consciousness. And of course we find this stated in the Bhagavatam. What is that? Savaya pumsam paradharma yato bhaktir hoksaje ahaitukiya pratyata yatma supersediti. What does that mean? That this Savaya pumsam paradharma, this topmost dharma of devotion, ato bhaktir hoksaje, ahaituki, there is no material cause. In other words, there's no prerequisites. Just like if you're taking a course in the university, sometimes they ask you if you fulfilled certain prerequisites. Like if you're doing mathematics 3, then you have to do mathematics 1 and 2 just to be able to take that particular course, at least in the undergraduate level. Graduate level is something different. So it says there's no prerequisite, of course, haituki, there's no cause, apretiyata yet masuprasidate. And we see this example with many people, or many great devotees, not only the gopis. I was thinking of certain devotees who were not educated or have any sort of material qualities. And one person that comes to mind is that Shabari in the Ramayana. Shabari means the lady who was born in a pig-eating caste, completely uneducated lady. She didn't even know the process of offering food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I mean, one of the things we learned when we first joined the Krishna consciousness movement is when you're offering something to Krishna, you're not supposed to what? Smell it or taste it. Generally, you have these cooks, like when I was young, my mother would cook for us, and she would have the spoon that she would stir everything and taste it. And so, it's the first thing you learn, isn't it? Don't smell, don't taste. Even if an animal sees the food, it's considered unofferable. And then everything's clean. So here you have the Shabari, who is waiting intensely, just like the gopis, waiting for Lord Ram to appear. Her guru has passed away, gone back to the spiritual world. And her guru says, you stay here in the material world and render service to Lord Ram. So Lord Ram, every day, she's feeling so much hankering to see, and she's uneducated, just like the gopis. She's feeling so anxious that she wants to see Lord Ram and receive him properly, that she's making this pathway with flowers, elaborate pathway with flowers, and preparing all the prasadam or food, whatever it is. And then finally, Lord Ram comes. And when Lord Ram comes, what happens? She offers him some little berries, but she wants to make sure that these berries taste sweet. Because sometimes, I don't know if you have some of these berries in India, some of them are kind of bitter. So basically, and they're just little berries, so she has to taste each one. And then she gives it to Ram. And Lakshmana says, hell, stop this. And Ram says, no, she's offering with devotion. So here someone is like completely uneducated and a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, absolutely no prerequisites at all. So, I mean, I have other examples, but there's not much time in class, but I wanted to touch upon another subject matter. So, but what is her quality that really takes her to the point of pure devotional service? Can anyone guess? It's one point of devotion, I understand that, but really, what is the underlying reason for that? What's that? Yes, but underlying that, what's that? Yeah, her one-pointed dedication to what? Her spiritual master. And that's brought out in the, actually it's brought out very nicely by Jadabhart in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. What's that? Ruhuganai tat tapasanayati nachejya nirvad panat grahadva nachandasa naiva jalagna suryar manam mahatpada jo bhishekam. Very interesting verse. That Ruhuganai tat, my dear King Rahugana, tapasanayati, that someone is not going to attain Krishna's mercy by executing austerities. Sometimes we find nowadays, after Prabhupada left the planet, people really get into these austerities, especially on Ekadashi. Really all these austerities and things like that. But tapasanayati, Natija nirvapagnad grahadva, nor taking sannyas, nor by being a nice ritualistic grahasta, nor by putting oneself in fire in the middle of the summer. In India, that's quite intense. Or putting oneself in ice cubes. Of course, nowadays it's become popular to take ice baths, but anyway, you've heard about this? Yeah, people do that voluntarily. So, nor by putting yourself in ice in the middle of the winter, but only without taking the dust of the feet of a great devotee. So, and that also relates to another verse, another word in this verse, which is shraddha. That's in this particular verse we read today. That they had faith. Now, what does shraddha mean? It's not simply belief or even implicit belief. If we analyze the word, it's sha or shak and da. That means really to give one's heart completely. That's an interesting word, shraddha, because it means to give it. So the gopis actually, because for them, Krishna's guru. Like Prabhupada said, for the residents of Vrindavan, their guru is directly Krishna. So then, what does it mean for us? Because we got to get to application. That's what my mother Urmila always told me to do at the end of class. So, we have one of her Siksha disciples here. So, anyways, so what is the application for us? All right. So forget about knowledge. Forget about reading Prabhupada's books. Forget about austerities, waking up early in the morning. Haribol. And, we have people like that, who really just like, all right, let's concentrate on Rasa Leela. Forget about that Sambandha Gyan. Forget about the Abhideya, just that topmost part of Abhideya. What? At least starting with Raganuga, and then Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, Mahabhava. So, jumping up, like Prabhupada said, what is it, big monkey, big belly, big monkey, Ceylon jumping melancholy. So, that's really not what Bhaktivinoda Thakur states in the Jaiva Dharma, and I'm not going to read the Jaiva Dharma at this point again. Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas state that it's extremely important for us to have Sambandha Gyan, to have knowledge, even though it's not a prerequisite for pure devotional service, but it's necessary so that we can remain stable in this world and be able to distinguish between matter and spirit and to see things on the basis of Shastra. Shastra Chakshush. Shastra Chakshush means to see through the eyes of Shastra. Because we are not at the point of giving ourselves 100% to Krishna, like the gopis. I mean, we have to be honest about that. We're not at the point of thinking of Krishna's pleasure as our only point in life, right? We're not at that point. We're aspiring to come to that point one day. And of course, if one is on that point, like the gopis, or like Shabari, because of her dedication to her guru, then Tesham Satarayintanam Bhajatam Pratibhorgam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenamam Upiyantite. Right? To those who are devotesham Satata Yuktanam. What does that mean? Does anyone know that verse? Always connected. Yukta. Just like you have the word yoga. Yuj comes from the root. Yuj one means connection. Satata Yuktanam. I mean, how many of us are Satata Yuktanam, like the gopis? How many of us are Satata Yuktanam, like Shabari? How many of us are Satyayukta, even like Dhruva Maharaj? Because Dhruva Maharaj was doing sadhana. That is a fact. Tesham Satyayuktam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. And worshipping Krishna with priti, with love. Priti is love. We're worshiping Krishna because basically we want to get out of the material world. Or, of course, we're having a good time in Krishna consciousness because we like the taste of the prasadam very nicely. I think it's important to be introspective as far as our motivation is concerned. It's not pure. I mean, forgive me if I'm offending any of you sitting here. I'm just speaking for myself, I guess I'm projecting my mentality on others. So, therefore, we need the instructions in Shastra. Sambandha Gyan. It means, I was asked that question the other day by someone, what is Sambandha Gyan? Again, I'll repeat. It's knowledge of the Vishnu Tattva, that means category of God, Jiva Tattva, the category of the Jiva soul, and the Shakti Tattva, and the two divisions of Shakti Tattva, the material energy and the spiritual energy, and their relationship with each other. The Bhagavad Gita deals extensively, let's say the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita deals extensively with the nature of the jiva. And then later on, so the Bhagavad Gita deals with basically Sambandha Gyan and also Abhideya. And you don't really find too much mention of Prayojana there. So, therefore, for us, it's important to study Prabhupada's books and understand these things because we don't have that single-minded devotion. And for us, it's also important not to run away and neglect our ordinary duties like the gopis did. I don't want to hear about any of the ladies just dropping their children off. And, they're doing art. And that happened in our movement before. Some of the ladies prematurely, that means before they were actually on the level of devotional service, just left their children without proper care or the wrong care and went to thinking themselves so advanced. They were like gopis. They can serve the deities. So basically, this is a great danger when we hear about these things with the gopis. So we have to understand that if we had single-minded devotion, if we were always connected, then yes, then we don't have to worry about ordinary social conventions. But for us, yes. And also, insofar as our movement is concerned and spreading Krishna consciousness, we have to be very worried about how people see us in the material world. Like, generally, the gopis were not worried about how people, well, actually, they were a little worried about it. That's why they snuck away. But they weren't that worried. Their devotion to Krishna was so much that they had no concern. But we should be concerned with how people see this movement, and we should act, as Prabhupada said when he was defining the quality of his disciples, as perfect ladies and gentlemen in this world. So this is a very important point. So any questions or comments? We have 1 minute left. Yes, Gopi. No, Jadbharata. Oh, Shabari. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And, so if we have that connection with Prabhupada, like Shabari had with her guru, yeah, that's the point. Then our perfection is assured. Right. Yeah, yeah. That's actually an important point that we have Prabhupada as our ultimate source of shiksha in the Krishna consciousness movement. And so following his instructions, same thing as Shabari following the instructions of her guru. Yes. Thank you. All glories to His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalayataksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Lasyan Dipan Dikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Rudantam Bohunetra Yugmam Prishon Tangwam Kadambo Jajuk Mena Satsankonetram Musuk Swashakam Patre Rekanka Kanta Ditagravam Damo Daram Bhakti Pajam Iti driksali labe ananda kunenge swagosham nikmajantam akyapayantam Dadi Sita Gesho Bhakta Jagatam Bunak Prematas Tam Shata Vritti Vande Param Deva Moksham Na Mokshavatim Maga Nachanya Vritne Ambareshad Abhiya Mokshavatim Maga Nachanya Vritne Ambareshadapiya Idam Teva Purnata Gopala Bhagalagam Sadame Manas Yavirastam Kim Anyai Vidam te mukham mosham achanta nirlaya vritam kunta laisnigda raktaisya gopya Muhusyum bitam bimba Rakta dadame Manasyavirastam Alam lakshalavai Namo Deva Damodar Ananda Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam Kripa Drishti Vishtati Dinambatadu Rahane Shavamagyame Yakshi Drisha Guverat Bajau Badamujaiva Yadvat Twayamuchitau Bhakti Bajo Kritoja Jata Prema Bhaktim Swa Kame Priyagatya Namokshe Guru Mesti Damodareya Namaste Sudamne Spuradipti Damne Twadiodarayata Vishvasha Damne Namo Radhe Kaya Diya Prayaya Namo Nanta Lilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namam Charam Satchit Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Vrajamadam Yasodameo Luka Ladavamana Paramshtama Chantagato Drucha Gopya Jai Rad Hadamodara Rad Hadamodara Ragade Jai Rad Hagolokananudad Hagolokananudagade Jaya Rad, hey, Jaya Rad, hey, Jaya Rad, hey, Jaya Rad, hey. Jaya Rad, hey, Jaya Rad, hey. Radhe 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 Jai Radhe Ki Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Sri Radhe Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramidakacharya Olsutana Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govinath Shyama Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuradam Ki Jai Jagadadha Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. To the Supreme Controller, who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran and retreated in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick, and as Mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes, he shivered in fright and his pearl necklace shook. To the Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, who was bound by his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drowned the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who were attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan and Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, the cheeks of your blackish lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have become reddened like bimba fruit due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision